Welcome back to yet another exciting episode of Branding Banter, your promotional podcast where you can get all that nerdy news. My name is Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA.
And I'm Meg Erber, Director of Sales at Performa.
And we got a special guest today, kind of a TikTok celebrity in one way or another, huh? We're joined today by Brooke Carver, Mrs. Happily Ever After on TikTok. And you've got a really fascinating story that kind of leads into some merch sales, which is why we're talking about it today. But first of all, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
But first of all, what's your background right there?
My background, I was a photographer full-time for 10 years. So I worked for myself. I shot weddings and boudoir and did that for a good long time. And then I fell into a business being a mentor for women, teaching them how to heal past shit in their life and basically go after what they want, and kind of started growing a following on TikTok doing that. And in the last year, it turned into my full-time job. So I've got a podcast and I have a bunch of programs and host masterminds and do a whole bunch of stuff helping women go do awesome shit.
Very, very cool. And so Meg, I know that you reached out to Brooke to bring her on because of the TikTok sensation that's happening.
Yeah, she showed up in my FYP and I became obsessed with her story. I was like, guys, we have to get her on. We have to get her on. Like, but how does this relate to our industry? And I think that's the fun part about this podcast is that she is not in our industry, but she has used merch sales as a fundraiser to, I guess we're going to let her tell that story. I don't want to ruin it, but it's really a crazy story, like crazy story. And the fact that she used merch, she's got some data, and we'll talk about it, and we'll link you to her store when this is all done. But I don't know. You know what? I'm really thirsty, Jeff. Is there somewhere that we should be going if we are like really thirsty?
There's definitely a place that you should be going if you're thirsty, or if you need, backpacks or awards or travel accessories or any of that stuff, really. Bell Promo, of course, obviously, our fine sponsors for this episode. They're an award-winning supplier of the ever-expanding range of branded merchandise sold exclusively through their strategic network of promotional product distributors. Known and respected for the deepest inventory in the industry, Bell Promo also leads the way with innovative decoration methods, exceptional turnaround time, and low 12-piece minimums. While they have made their mark by offering the largest selection of drinkware of any single supplier, Bell Promo continues to expand their offerings, including writing instruments, notebooks, awards, backpacks, travel accessories, apparel, and headwear. To better serve their distributor partners, they warehouse and decorate their merchandise in a state-of-the-art 350,000 square foot facility where over 800 passionate Bell Promo employees don't meet expectations, they exceed them. At Bell Promo, their shared goal is to provide their distributor partners with every possible resource to support their efforts to help their respective businesses thrive. And yes, you can Bell Promo that. Thank you for that segue, Meg Erber. All right.
I was thirsty, so it was easy.
Fair enough. Well, Brooke, we're very excited to hear the story, first of all, and then we'll go into how it relates, as Meg alluded to earlier, to our industry. So Tell us about what's happening with TikTok.
All right. So I luckily had a sizable following leading up to this situation. And then as the things happened, which I'll get to in a second, I, as a last resort, was like, I'm going to make this fucking viral and we're gonna get it somehow. So basically on December of 2023, it was my birthday. Me and my husband live on a boat, so if you're wondering where, I'm not in a spaceship. So I was up here just working and I get a call from the front desk at the marina. And she goes, "Hey, Brooke, there are 4 detectives here to talk to you." And I was like, "Okay, I don't think so." Like, I thought, my sister lives in Austin. I was like, "Oh, she flew in for my birthday to surprise me." Like, it's not detectives. So I was in literal flower power pajamas with no bra. And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And I go up the ramp with, like, to 4 detectives in full gear. And I was like, "Oh my God." And they walked up to me and they're like, "Ma'am, we need you to take us to your vehicle right now. We suspect that you have a stolen car." And I was like, "Pardon? Like, I've owned this car for 6 months. I have the title in my name. Like, what are you talking about?" So basically, they, within 15 minutes of me meeting them, took my car. Now, the real fun here is that for the first time in my life, I owned the car outright. I grew up being brought up kind of like a boy, so I bought and sold cars all the way through college. I painted cars on my own, did all the work on them myself, and bought and sold hot rods until I could buy a newer Corvette. And I went from an '05 Corvette to a 15 to a 2019 Cayman, and I was like a sports car junkie. And me and my husband were like, all right, like time to have kids, time to be a little responsible. So I sold my Cayman and bought an SUV in cash and was like, all right, no car payment, whatever. Like all of this buying and selling and working my way up got me this nice car, paid in full, and I'm good. Now we can go off and do whatever we want to do. And like that's one less thing to worry about. And so when the car got taken away from me, it was the car and the $30,000. And so the detectives at the time were like, well, you can file an insurance claim with a theft by deception claim with your insurance, see what happens. And pretty quickly, insurance came back and they're like, listen, there's an exclusion on your policy that says if a covered vehicle is apprehended by a government official, it's no longer covered. So if the loss is a result of government apprehension, which is important, um, and even though the loss wasn't necessarily a result of that, the reason that clause exists is for people that are like dealing drugs out of the back of their car and get caught, right? Um,
Mhm.
so because I wasn't doing something illegal and got my car apprehended because of that illegal act, this exclusion should not have applied to me, as reinforced by like multiple State Farm agents and people I mean, I now have talked to everybody on the planet about all these things. Um, but anyway, they denied my claim. I was out a vehicle still, um, and was like, "Well, I'm live in California. I don't have an extra $30,000 to go buy another car." And so I decided to use my TikTok following, and I already had a merch shop that sold like sweatshirts and stuff that was branded to my business, and I decided to create a marketing campaign called Stickers for a Sticky Situation, and I made a bunch of merch that says "Drive it like you stole it" because I thought it was hilarious.
It is.
It's so
I'm gonna have
funny,
to buy
dude.
one because I
The
love it.
shirt is the
So,
shirt is
like,
really
if
funny.
if you're my kind of humor, you think it's fucking great. It's right here. Where?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I love
there
it.
it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get one for my mug for
I thought
sure.
it was so funny. So I made these stickers and I got on TikTok and did a stitched video with like a tell me the craziest thing, whatever, whatever. And I told
Wait,
the story.
Was it Susie making the pesto? Was
It was
that?
not Susie Pesto. It was a dude saying, "Tell me about a coincidence that you think about every day," or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
so I came on and I was like, "Here's a crazy story." And basically, after the detectives took the car, I talked to the detectives, I'm trying to figure out what the hell happened. A man in Texas went into a CarMax facility, bought the car with a stolen identity. Immediately, I assume we don't really know what happened in between March of last year and July when I bought the car, but 4 or 5 months happened, and I purchased the car with a clean Carfax, a clean California Highway Patrol VIN check appointment. Smog check came clean, and they run the VIN as well. Um, I had the title in my name, all of the things that you would do as a person purchasing a vehicle, all the due diligence, had it all, drove it from July through December, and that's when the detectives came and got the car. As it turns out, CarMax didn't report this incident for a little over 4 months after it occurred, which is where I got totally screwed because when I purchased the car, it had only been they had just put in the police report, so it hadn't gotten through the channels. It was like the police report was like days old when I purchased the vehicle. So, basically that their failure to report in a timely manner led to me getting the vehicle and having all of the paperwork that checked out. And then after my claim got denied, I reached out to the detectives and I was like, okay, listen, this is kind of a weird offshoot, but like I'm out of options. I assume that this car is going to be auctioned off at some kind of like police auction or something, right? Like that's what they
Right.
do with impounded cars.
Right.
So I was like, I have friends that are car dealers, so or have their dealer's license. Like, can you let me know what's happening with this car? And like, maybe my thought was like, maybe my friend can go buy it back at auction for like 10 grand. And like, yeah, I'm still out a bunch of money, but it's a hell of a lot less than buying another new car. So I was like, that kind of sounds smart. So I reached out to the detective and he was like, yeah, we gave it back to CarMax. They're reconditioning. And at the time, I was told that he was reconditioning the title in order for it to be resold at full market value. And I was like, what? Like, that doesn't seem super fair. And so that's when I made the stickers and I went to TikTok kind of pissed and was like, how does this work? Like, I'm out everything. CarMax gets to resell the car? Like, what is happening? And I was under the impression they had long received an insurance payout. And I was assuming that at the time. It turns out they're self insured and they had not taken an insurance payout yet. But because so much time had passed, like March, the car was purchased with a stolen identity. And this is now, January, February of the next year, almost a full year later. So made the TikTok video. It went mega viral. We were at like millions of views overnight. And the executive level of CarMax was reaching out to me via DM that day. And I was like, sweet, like, this is going to be great. They're going to give me my money back. I'm going to get my car back. Like, this is great. So they reached out to me. They had one of their, PR, whatever, or not even PR, whatever, customer relations people reach out to me. And she was overly nice on the phone. So of course all my red flags are going up. She's like giving me all these compliments and I was like, this feels really, I don't like it.
Yeah.
And she was like, we really want to help you in this situation. What can we do? And I was like, well, I understand that, you guys got defrauded. I got defrauded. I'm trying to be super fair in this situation, but you guys missed it and then double missed it. And those things led to this happening to me. And so she was like, well, what's your best case scenario? And I was like, well, my best case scenario is giving me my car back, like with a bow on it, because you had it. So like, I want my car back.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like, you guys have insurance for fraud. Like, that's what car dealerships have. So like, use your insurance, take the cut. I will sing your praises on TikTok. There are 5 million people watching. Now we're at like 12 million. There were 5 million people watching the story at that point. I was like, this is great publicity for you. Like, this is a win-win situation. Like, Stanley Cup me, like for those of you that are familiar with Stanley Cup's brilliance there.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they came back and they're like, no. And I was like, okay, how about you sell me the car back? If you're going to sell it anyway. And that's when they were like, well, we're going to sell it at auction. We're not putting it on our lot. And I was like, okay, great. Sell it to me. And they said, no, which I thought was crazy.
That is crazy.
So then I was like, okay, how about a discount on a future purchase? And they said no, which I thought was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
So
why are they even asking what your best case scenario is if they're not even going to give you a discount on a future order? You know what I mean?
I would love to know that
best case scenario. Are you going to sue us or not? Like, let's just gauge this.
Yes. So that went crazy. I ended up going back to my insurance company and being like, hey, you cited an exclusion that doesn't apply to me. They reopened the case, re-denied it. They reached out to CarMax to try and get CarMax to cover it. CarMax said no. It's been a whole mess of a
It has been.
situation.
And you actually came up with a really good idea. And that's what kind of sparked the interest for me to bring you on is you're like, okay, in a perfect scenario, I'm sitting there. I think you said, hey, State Farm, you like to work with collaborators, or maybe it was CarMax, one of them. And you were like, picture this. I'm sitting here. I don't have my car. It's Jake. You hear the jingle, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Then boom, and I'm sitting in my car, my new car. And I'm like, I love it. Like, you took a really bad situation and you gave a nice positive opportunity to both of these companies that did you wrong. But I think the point of us bringing you on was the whole merch thing and the fact that you used it to gain these followers. And yeah, you said it the other day when we talked, it was like 9.6 million views. I'm sure it's up way more than that now, but that's insane. Do you want to dive into very quickly about the merch that you're selling and where they can go to find it and how much you sold of it so far and
absolutely.
how close you are to your goal?
So obviously my goal was 30 grand to get my car back. And I did with the caveat of if at any point things work out in my favor and I get my lump sum back, that I would take whatever money was raised through these channels and give it to someone else in a sticky situation. So like find someone that's going through something terrible and kind of like give it back as opposed to being like double 30,000. Thank you everyone. And like walking away because that felt gross. And so my website's right there, loveherwellpodcast.com. I have a whole merch section. The stickers were all born out of this idea, thinking that people on TikTok that are strangers would happily spend $5 and get a sticker. I, through all of the channels of things going on, I'm at about $3,000. So not a ton, but better than zero. It'll pay for an attorney if I need one, or at least the starting stages. Yeah, you can go to my website. You can Love Her Wild podcast is my Instagram. Mrs. Happily Ever After is my TikTok. And other than the Drive It Like You Stole It, all of the other merch is very like manifestation based because that's my platform previous to the CarMax debacle. So it's all just, and that's kind of the reason that I wanted everything to have a positive spin is at the base of it what my whole platform stands for in general. And I didn't feel like any good was going to come to going to the internet and just trying to bash everyone. So yeah, I firmly believe that good things happen to good people, and something good is coming out of this.
A lot of good.
I'll keep you posted.
Well, I mean, you got to meet me and Meg. What more could you ask for, really?
I mean, truly, this is a dream come true. Like we're at the top. How much further could I go?
Right? I mean, I will say we have a Facebook group for our industry, and it's people just come on there and they complain most of the time. They don't really offer solutions, so they should take a page out of your book.
Hey, and if anybody out there wants to give me $30,000 and they want 9 million people to know about their business, you could put your business on me and I will make me your branded content.
You go. We have a lot of people that may be interested in that, actually.
Meg's on a great board called Promo Cares. Maybe there's something maybe work together there. Who knows?
Yeah. Like I'm happy to promote you to all 9.6 million people following this story.
Well, no, we don't have $30,000, but we raise money.
Come on.
No. And actually, funny that you say that, Jeff. We are going to be relaunching Water for Good this year for a second series. Last year, we were able to raise $175,000 through the goodwill and the people and the amazing people of this industry. And every dime that we raised made it to our beneficiary, which was Planet Water Foundation. And we built multiple water towers, aqua towers in Mexico. We picked Mexico just because it was so impoverished. The community that we were drawing resources from, they didn't have access to clean drinking water or anything. So that's why we chose that beneficiary. But we are doing it for a year or two this year. So just to kind of keep the whole fundraising and merch for good, I think that just people don't mind opening up their pocketbooks when they know that it's going to go to a good cause. And I feel like, with this industry is just filled with a bunch of great people that just always want to put the best foot forward. So, Jeff, do you have any more questions for Brooke? I think that was great.
I don't think so. I mean, the way I hear it, not to make light of your story or your situation at all, but the moral of the story to me is to, not grow up and be responsible and to just keep flipping the Corvettes, right?
I mean, I agree with you. I think that I should have stuck with the sports cars until I absolutely had to leave them. That was way more fun for me, at least. But yeah, and I mean, don't grow up in general. I haven't worked for myself in my entire adult life, and it's working out great. So, just keep being a kid and it works out.
I mean, you're on a boat, so
I live on a boat. It's not a bad life.
That's pretty awesome.
Song about that too, right? I'm on a boat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No? Yep.
Oh yes.
You got your swim trunks and your flippy floppies.
There it is.
Yeah.
So no, I don't have any more questions. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing your story. Hopefully we'll, maybe expand that to 9.6002 people. I don't know. But no, it was really awesome to have you on and to hear the story. I hope things continue to go in the right direction. Hopefully you'll get the update that you're looking for. And if not, hopefully the merch will continue to sell. And I know people that do listen to the podcast are absolute merch fanatics. So maybe they'll go on and they'll buy one of those Drive It Like You Stole It sweatshirts that I saw. They're pretty awesome looking.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I would love that. Maybe we could kind of give them, if you guys buy a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or a sticker and you post it, we will send you some limited edition branding Banter merch. If you buy something for her, and we will send it to you for free. So
sweet.
That's your call to action. And other than that, thank you guys.
Very cool. Well, again, this episode was brought to you by our good friends over at Bell Promo. They're an award-winning supplier of an ever-expanding range of branded merchandise sold exclusively through their strategic network of promotional product distributors. Known and respected for the deepest inventory in the industry, Bell Promo also leads the way with innovative decoration methods, exceptional turnaround time, and low 12-piece minimums. While they've made their mark by offering the largest selection of drinkware of any single supplier, Bell Promo continues to expand their offerings, including writing instruments, notebooks, awards, backpacks, travel accessories, apparel, and headwear. To better serve the distributor partners, they warehouse and decorate their merchandise in a state-of-the-art 350,000 square foot facility where over 800 passionate Bell Promo employees don't meet expectations, they exceed them. And yes, you can Bell Promo that. So thank you guys so much, Brooke. It was awesome to meet you, and I hope things continue to go well for you.
Thanks.
Or better, even.
Better, yeah.
All right. Take care, guys. Until next time.